So, you want to start a YouTube channel? Well, here's a couple of recommendations if you want to start one. First, you got to figure out what your channel's about. What are you going to talk about? Are you going to do like reviews, like food review, gear review, life review? You're going to do lifestyle? Are you going to do like theme parks, political stuff? What else is there? Education. I mean, there's all these little aspects that you can go into, and you got to remember, no matter which one you pick, which they call niches, there's going to be a lot of competition in it. So you either have to try to be unique or offer the best information, or yeah, either one of those. Just, you can do like flashy stuff, you could do travel channels, try to go to the best places and stuff like that. But you also have to remember, depending on what you think of in doing your channel, how much money is it going to cost you? I mean, some of this stuff isn't cheap. So once you decide your niche on what you want to do, the next thing you need to do is create a name of your channel. Now, you can use your name if you want, but you can also use a name that kind of reflects what you're about, what you're doing. Like if you're going to do tech reviews, or if you're going to do theme park stuff or education, you want a name that's going to reflect, so people will remember who you are, and then you want to become unique in that particular niche, so people will be gravitating towards you. Then the next thing you want to do is, you need gear to film yourself. Now, you can get all crazy and expensive and stuff like that, but if you're just starting out and you're not sure if you want to continue with it because maybe you feel you don't have the determination to do it, the willingness to do it, it could cost a little bit of money, just depends. So what you want to do, first thing, your first camera is going to be your phone. Okay. Everybody has a phone. Everybody has an updated phone. So you can go ahead and record yourself on this. And then once you get all your recording, where are you going to do I don't want to say long form, but if you just do a one shot record, then there's really no need to really edit too much. But you want to cut off the ends because, you got the beginning and then the end where you want to make it look clean. But if you're going to do some editing, like record some parts and then you need to piece them together, then you got to pick an editing software. There's several of them out there. And just depending on if you're going to do it off your computer or off your phone, just depending on what software you want to use. I use DaVinci Resolve. Now, I will recommend DaVinci Resolve only because you can get it for free off the Blackmagic website. So that way you could try it out, and it's basically a full-fledged program to where they give you enough to where you can edit all your footage. But if you purchase it, then you get a little bit more, and the program does a little bit more for you, more on the professional side. If you're going to work off your phone, I understand CapCut is actually pretty good. So you could do that and then just put, your videos up immediately, just working off of your phone. So basically, all you would need is a phone and, of course, phone service to upload the videos. Okay, if you're going to go the phone route, the other item you'll need is storage. So you might want to get one of those SSD devices to hook up to your phone so you can take all the footage that you filmed on your phone off your phone, because they don't make these with memory cards anymore, so it's all internal memory, so you're going to fill it up pretty quick. So you have to dump the memory out of there every once in a while. So then once you get ready to film yourself and start working on it, the next thing you really have to be is consistent. You have to be consistent with posting. YouTube likes it when you post a lot because then they're going to promote your channel a little bit more. Now, just be aware when you first start, you're not going to get any action. Don't think because, all right, I made this awesome video, it's going to go viral. Don't think that. It may not. Just have the hopes that someone's going to see it, get a couple of views, and just build off of that. You're just building it. You're making a foundation of your channel and you're building on top of it. So, as you build more and more, it's going to get bigger and bigger. So, you have to do that. You can use examples of other people in that niche to kind of find out like what they do. I'm not saying copy. I personally don't like to copy, but sometimes you wind up doing it because you've watched videos in your genre or your niche many times, and sometimes you just do it unconsciously, but you're gonna copy here and there. But if you can actually do original stuff, then better for you to do that. So once you get this going and start uploading and everything, that's when you decide, do you need to upgrade your gear? Now, I've known people that they just stick with their phones. That's all they use is their phone, because one, it's convenient. You always have it on you, so you can start recording anywhere, just depending on what your niche is. The other one, it's small enough to where you can carry it anywhere discreetly. The other thing, there are some places that won't allow you to take in big cameras. So they're not going to say no to your phone because they can't really deny you your phone, so you can go in with that. Now, as far as quality goes, do the phones offer you quality that you're looking for? Yes, they do. They're good enough to where you get some nice quality to where you can't even tell things are being recorded on a phone. Hey, technology, man, that's like where it's at too. So, but once you get that, if you decide you need a big camera, heavily investigate on what you might need, because you need to start writing down what you need, because buying a camera, let's say a mirrorless camera, is really going to be an investment. If you want something simple that's small like a phone and you can carry it anywhere that's still discreet, I would look at DJI Osmo Pocket 3. That has been like a game changer in the industry of YouTube and social media, because it's small enough, it's compact, you can carry it everywhere. The picture quality is good, the sound quality is good. You can hook up wireless microphones to it. DJI, of course, and just wirelessly, like you can step away from the camera at farther distance and you're not going to lose any sound quality on it, just depending on how far you go. If you go beyond the distance that the microphone is transmitting, of course it's going to break up. But if you're within like a few feet of your camera, but you want like that distance farther than your arm can hold, then you can do that with the wireless mic. So that would be the next step if you're going to get like a camera, would be the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. If you're looking for something that does well in low light, because you're going to be in low light situations, then you're talking about the big camera. But again, that, as I was saying earlier, is a bigger investment, and that's the one you really want to investigate quite a bit on what you might need. Do you need autofocus that's just sticky, it just stays in focus all the time? Do you need like how many, not megapixels, but like, do you need more than 4K? Are you okay with 1080p? Because all the cameras can do 1080p with no problem. 4K is starting to get better. Then you got cameras that can do 6K, and now you got up to 8K. Just remember, the higher the number, the bigger the files are going to be, and you got to wonder, can your computer handle this? So that's why some people, they just stick with 1080p as far as resolution. That way they don't have these big files that they have to deal with, and it's a lot easier to work with and edit. And when you upload to YouTube, you can get 1080p, but you can also trick the your editor in thinking that you're uploading in the 4K, and then sometimes you can't really tell the difference unless you're zooming in on your video in post. Then that's when you're going to start seeing some degradation to the video quality. Then once you get into the bigger cameras, you also have to look into a microphone for your camera. So there's an extra investment in that as well. So let's average it out. Let's say you're going to buy a Sony FX30. Okay, they recently lowered the price on that, but you're probably looking on average about $1,500 just for the body of the camera. Now you'll need some lenses depending on the manufacturer of the lens. If you stick with Sony, you could pay anywhere from about $500 all the way up to about $2,000 for a lens, for one single lens. You know, it gets expensive. If you do like a third party like Sigma, then you'll probably pay anywhere from $500 to maybe $1,000. It just depends. You know, Sigma's a good brand. It's pretty sharp, and you know the colors you get off of that are pretty nice. But you know, that's what you're looking at if you get into a Sony FX3. And to note, I'm sorry, not the FX3, the FX30. To note on the FX30, it has a smaller sensor size, which they call APS-C. It's still good, but the problem is low light. It's not going to be as good in low light as a full frame sensor. And when you get into the full frame sensors, yes, the camera body is more expensive. You're looking probably on average about maybe $2,500 to get into full frame, and then the lenses are very expensive. You're looking probably on average about $1,500 per lens for full frame. So, you know, everything's just going to decide on, you know, what your budget's like. Okay, and then we still haven't gotten into what do you really need out of that mirrorless camera. And sorry, in reference, the APS-C sensor and the full frame sensor, they're also known as mirrorless cameras. Okay, so they're like mirrorless sensors, because in the olden days when you had the DSLRs, they had little mirrors that kind of like was taking the image off the lens, and it was sort of like reflecting and bouncing into the sensor. So it was kind of protecting the sensor from the light, but the mirror would actually like show the reflection, so the image would be upside down. It's crazy. Now they have mirrorless, so where it's directly going to the sensor from the lens. So as far as what you need, that's what you have to decide. One of the main ones are autofocus. How well does a camera autofocus? Right now, Sony's probably about the best in autofocus. I do like the Canon autofocus. The only thing I don't like about the Canon is just the whole cost factor of what Canon brings to the field here. Basically, you can buy the body of the camera for, let's say an R8. I think you can get it for about $1,300 to $1,400, but then when you get the lens, you're looking at about $2,000. I don't understand why Canon does that, but it's like $2,000 to get a lens. Now you can probably get cheaper ones. They are opening it up to third parties for their RF lenses, but I think part of the stipulation is they have to have the pricing similar to what Canon is now, so you're not really saving much with the third party. But you know, that's Canon. If they want to shoot themselves in the foot, they can do that, and that's why I do own Canon cameras, but I do have a couple of DSLRs that have the mirrors, and then yeah, that's all I have. I don't have a mirrorless camera in that line. And again, the lenses are expensive. It's hard to get away from that, but they do have some good glass. And if you hear that term glass, it also means lens. So I unless you really like Canon, because their color science is like spot on, it's really nice, I don't know if I'd get into the expense of that if you haven't got into that. I've also experimented with Panasonic. I really love Panasonic. The only problem I have is their autofocus isn't like as sticky as Sony. So if you need something reliable, then it might, for autofocus, then it's going to be Sony. But I have managed to where, you know, I can like set the settings just right depending on the lighting to where the Panasonic is pretty sticky, but every once in a while it will like go out of focus, like it's searching for something to focus on, even though you're standing right in front of the camera, and it just goes like this, and you're like, okay, I'm right here, dude. But you know, these are some of the things and the tools that you might need. Now, I'll give you some examples of like why this is so versatile. And I kind of mentioned it earlier, but with the phone, you can go anywhere. You can go anywhere with the phone. You can go to a baseball game, your phone, you can film in there. You know, they may not like you filming in there, but you know, at least you can take a couple shots, take pictures with your friends and stuff like that, take film of your friends. Now, if you show up with a camera, even with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, they may not let you in. You know, it just depends, you know. If they see it, they may not let you go. I mean, I went to Magic Mountain one time for their Fright Fest Extreme, and I was trying to take my DJI Osmo Pocket 3 in, and they said no, I couldn't do it. So there, you know, if I was bringing a big camera, one of my big cameras, I wouldn't have gotten in anyway. So, you know, like the fairgrounds, you really can't take in a big camera, but then again, I've seen, you know, content creators with their big cameras, but I think they have like a media pass so they can go in with that. You know, if you get higher up in your niche or whatever, and you need to take your camera somewhere, they might give you a media pass and then you can go ahead and film, but that's going to be rare. But, you know, these are some of the things that you need to consider when starting a YouTube channel, you know. But if you're not sure about it, again, this is going to be the only thing you need. You can film with it, you can edit with it, and you can go anywhere with it. You just need to have some storage that you can dump the files onto, and also one of those battery packs so you can recharge your phone. And that would be it. This would be the first thing I would start with if you're starting a YouTube channel and you're just not sure that you want to keep up with it. That way you're not spending all kinds of money for nothing, you know. But that's what I recommend if you're going to start a YouTube channel. I hope I covered all of the aspects of it. I mean, there's still more to it, but a lot of it is depending on what you're going to do and what you need as far as gear. But if you're just going to be in a studio doing talking head, then I probably would recommend one of the big cameras, so you can just get like the look of a studio, or like a Hollywood, you know, film type, where you can just adjust the lighting and it would do quite well with it. There are people that use their phone still with that, and they get the good results. So like I said, again, it just depends on what you want and what you're looking for. But if you've never done this before, man, just stick with the phone. Save yourself some bucks, and then just get out there and film and practice, and then just work on, you know, talking to the camera, you know, especially when you're in public. You know, people are going to stare at you because you're talking to your phone, and so you're like looking at them, and you get a little subconscious, and you start messing up with, you know, what you want to talk about. And then that's another thing. You can either practice like doing improv, so like you'll have all the information you need stored up in your noggin. Then you can basically talk. You're not actually like making up stuff. You're giving them information that you already know, but you're not scripting anything. Like this, I didn't script anything. I'm just coming up with, you know, things that you might need on the fly, and trying to give you all the information that I can remember and know. And that's why sometimes, like, maybe, you know, I might not hit on a certain subject because I don't even use bullet points or anything like that to get the video going. To kind of remind you, I'm just kind of like doing it on the fly, and wow, I'm losing my light here. So, but anyway, guys, I hope some of this was helpful. It's not everything. Maybe I might be able to jump in on some other things, but these are some of the things that you might need, and just to get you started with the YouTube. And then after that, you kind of know what you might need to do, how you're going to do some of your videos and stuff like that. And then you're gaining experience through it. It's like, I can't really tell you everything that you need to know and do, because, well, I'm doing something different than what you're doing. So I hope this helps as far as gear and getting started. So I wish you luck in your YouTube adventure, and just remember, not every video is going to go viral. You might have some that do well, you might have some that don't. Just learn from it and just kind of create something better. Always improve with everything that you're doing. All right, guys. Well, thank you for taking the time to watch this and listen to me rant about how to, not how to start, but what you might need to start a YouTube channel. All right. Thank you guys for watching. I love you all, and have a good night.